But for me, this moment transcends Michael Jackson. It is much bigger than any one.
Most people crumble when the world turns against them, when cameras are rolling, when millions are watching, when the interviewer across the table is trying to trap you. But Michael Jackson, he didn't crumble. He didn't cry. He didn't walk out. He shut them down every single time. And what he said in those moments was so composed, so powerful, so undeniably human that even his enemies had nothing left to say. This is the story of how the most criticized man in pop history faced his critics live on television and won every single time. By the 1990s, Michael Jackson was the most famous human being on planet Earth. But fame like that comes with a price. Every interviewer wanted the controversial angle. Every journalist wanted to be the one who broke him. Every talk show host wanted the clip that would define their career. What they didn't expect was that Michael Jackson had thought about every single question before they even asked it. And when they came for him, he was ready.
There was a story, and I know one of your attorneys held a news conference. There was a story about you wanting to have a little white boy play you in a Pepsi commercial.
That is so stupid. That's the most ridiculous, horrifying story I've ever heard. It's crazy. I mean, why? Number one, it's my face as a child in the commercial. Me when I was little. Why would I want a white child to play me? I'm a Black American. I'm proud to be a Black American. I am proud of my race. I am proud of who I am. I have a lot of pride in who I am and dignity. That's like you wanting an Oriental person to play you as a child. Does that make sense?
No.
So please, people, stop believing these
Michael,
horrifying
then
stories.
let's go to the thing that is most discussed about you, I think, is the fact that the color of your skin is obviously different than it was when you were younger.
Yes.
And so I think it has caused a great deal of speculation and controversy as to what you have done or are doing. Are you bleaching your skin? And is your skin lighter because you don't like being Black?
Okay, number one, as I know of, there is no such thing as skin bleaching. I have never seen it. I don't know what it is.
Well, they used to have those products growing up. I used to hear always use bleach and glow, but you'd have to have about 300,000 gallons to.
Okay, number one, this is the situation. I have a skin disorder that destroys the pigmentation of the skin. It's something that I cannot help. Okay, but when people make up stories that I don't want to be who I am, it hurts me.
So it's
a problem for me, okay? I can't control it, okay? But what about all the millions of people? Let's reverse it.
Okay.
What about all the millions of people who sit out in the sun to become darker, to become other than what they are? Nobody says nothing about that.
So when did this start? When did the color of your skin start to change?
February 10th, 1993, 0.90 million people were watching. It was the most watched interview in television history at that point. And Oprah Winfrey, the most powerful interviewer in the world, went straight for what everyone wanted to know. What's happening with your skin? Is it a bleaching cream? Do you bleach your skin? The world leaned forward. And Michael Jackson, calmly, clearly, without flinching, looked her in the eye and said, "I have a skin disorder that destroys the pigmentation of the skin. It's something I cannot help." No anger, no defensiveness, just truth, delivered with the composure of someone who had rehearsed this moment, not because he was hiding anything, but because he knew the world needed to hear it clearly. Oprah pushed further, the audience watched, the cameras kept rolling, and Michael kept his composure, answering every question with a dignity that left no room for doubt. This was not a man who was ashamed. This was a man who was done letting other people define him. Now this one is different, because Martin Bashir didn't come for a conversation. He came for a takedown. For 8 months, Bashir followed Michael Jackson with cameras. He laughed with him. He walked through Neverland with him. He gained his trust completely, and then he edited the footage to make Michael look unstable. But here's what Bashir didn't count on. Michael Jackson's team was also recording every single interview, every single moment. And when Bashir's documentary aired, Michael released his own version of the footage, side by side, what Bashir showed the world and what was actually said. The difference was shocking. Moments that were made to look strange in Bashir's edit looked completely normal in the unedited footage. Statements that were made to sound suspicious made perfect sense. December 22nd, 1993, Michael Jackson had been accused, investigated, dragged through every newspaper in the world. His name, his entire legacy, was being destroyed in real time. Most people in his position would have hidden, would have let their lawyers do the talking, would have disappeared. Instead, Michael Jackson sat down in front of a camera, alone, no interviewer, no host, no one to guide the conversation, just him and the world. And he said this: "I am not guilty of these allegations, but if I am guilty of anything, it is of giving all that I have to give to help children all over the world." The room went silent, not because it was dramatic, because it was real. You could see it on his face, you could hear it in his voice. This was not a performance. This was a human being, stripped of everything, standing in front of the world and refusing to break. Critics had expected tears, or rage, or collapse. What they got was composure, and it was more powerful than anything they had prepared for. MJ speaking about media treatment. By 2005, Michael Jackson had been through a criminal trial, 14 counts, months of testimony, global media coverage that was unlike anything ever seen, and he was acquitted on every single charge. But the damage had been done, or so the critics thought. In this interview with Reverend Jesse Jackson, Michael spoke about something the media never wanted to discuss: the pattern, the way powerful Black artists, at the height of their success, suddenly find themselves surrounded by accusations, investigations, and media campaigns designed to destroy them. Michael didn't say it with anger, he said it with clarity, and the people listening, really listening, heard something that the mainstream coverage had buried completely. This was not paranoia. This was a man who had watched it happen to him in real time and was calmly explaining what he saw. The critics wanted a breakdown.
Would you, as a parent, allow your children to sleep in the same bedroom with someone who has the suspicions and allegations that have been made against you and about you today? Would you allow that?
Someone...
If you knew someone who had the same kind of allegations,
yeah, I know exactly what you're saying.
Would you let your children
My children
sleep in that man's bedroom?
If I knew the person personally, because I know how the press is, I know how people can twist the truth. If I knew the person personally, absolutely yes, absolutely. I wouldn't have a problem with it.
Do you know how this looks to a lot of people? I mean, do you understand that?
How does what look?
How the fact that you
know why people think sex. They're thinking sex. My mind doesn't run that way. When I see children, I see the face of God. That's why I love them so much. That's what I see.
Do you know any other man your age, a 45-year-old man, who shares his bedroom with children?
Of course. Not for sex. No, that's wrong.
Well, let me say, from my perspective, my experience, I don't know any 45-year-old men who are not relatives of the children who share their bedroom with other children.
Well, what's wrong with sharing your bed? I didn't say I slept in the bed. Even if I did sleep in the bed, it's okay. I am not going to do anything sexual to a child. It's not where my heart is. I would slit my wrist first. I would never do anything like that. That's not Michael Jackson, I'm sorry. That's someone else.
This interview is one of the most important things Michael Jackson ever did on camera, because Ed Bradley, unlike Bashir, was a real journalist. He asked hard questions, serious questions, questions with no easy answers. And Michael Jackson sat across from him, not with a rehearsed PR statement, but with honesty. When Bradley asked him about the accusations, Michael didn't deflect. He looked at the camera and said, "I would never harm a child. I would slit my wrists before I would hurt a child." Now, some people heard that and thought it was dramatic, but watch his face when he says it. That is not performance. That is a man telling the deepest truth he knows. Ed Bradley, a veteran journalist who had interviewed presidents and dictators, later said in private that Michael Jackson was one of the most genuine interview subjects he had ever encountered. Not the most polished, not the most strategic, the most genuine. and genuine in a world full of spin hits harder than anything else. People forget this moment because it doesn't fit the narrative that the media built around Michael Jackson. In 2001, Michael Jackson stood in front of the Oxford Union, one of the most prestigious debating societies in the world, the same stage where world leaders, Nobel Prize winners, and heads of state had spoken, and he gave a speech about children's rights that left the audience full of Oxford students and academics, completely silent, not from confusion, from impact. He talked about the wounds that parents leave on children, about the responsibility of adults to protect innocence, about how the world fails its children every single day. He talked about his own father, about the beatings, about the fear, about being called ugly by the man who was supposed to make him feel safe. And then, without self-pity, he called on the entire world to do better. This was not Wacko Jacko. This was not the tabloid character. This was a man of extraordinary intelligence and emotional depth, standing in one of the world's great institutions and shutting down every critic who had ever called him simple or strange or broken. With one speech, the audience gave him a standing ovation. Here is what all of these moments have in common. Every single interviewer who sat across from Michael Jackson came prepared to expose something, a weakness, a lie, a crack in the armor, and every single time, they left with nothing. Not because Michael Jackson was hiding, but because there was nothing to expose. A man who is guilty panics under pressure. A man who is performing slips when the questions get hard. But Michael Jackson, in every interview, in every statement, in every moment the cameras were rolling, was the same person. Calm, clear, honest, unbreakable. The critics spent 40 years trying to find the real Michael Jackson, the one they had invented in their headlines, the dangerous one, the weird one, the guilty one. And every time they looked, they found something they weren't prepared for. A gentle man, a brilliant artist, a human being who, despite everything the world threw at him, never stopped loving it back. That's not weakness. That is the rarest kind of strength that exists. And no interviewer, no matter how prepared, no matter how aggressive, no matter how powerful, could ever take that from him.